Today I will be building the treasure cove play system. Got all the inventory done. Got some stuff over here. I started with the frame already, step one. Got a bunch of stuff over there. And then I have everything else cataloged over here. And then I'm also going to add a teeter totter from the old play set. So far, this is some of the tools that I've needed. Drill, pen, hammer. This is the one that they provided, the square tip. 3/16 drill bit. 11mm socket with adapter for the drill. Step one. You're gonna need these. Here's what it looks like. Make sure you have these grooves up and facing in like this. These just pop right in. And then you will need these screws to go here. These tap in here. Now you got to flip it over to do the next one. Put screws in. What you're going to need are this to do this step. Now we're going to go do the other wall. It is exactly the same as the other one. I already put in all the fasteners. Now I'm going to flip it over and do the other side. Step 3 looks like this. These are still loose. And then you have these on the bottom. For step 3, we're gonna need all of these parts, these pieces of wood, and they're gonna go on here. Once you have it installed, it'll look like this. Everything is still loose, and I needed to use this tool right here. And I needed to use it on my drill, my Makita. They only gave me this square tip. For step 3, we're going to need these screws. Just the S30s on the top two, and then the rest get these all up and down the sides. So S30s and then S0s and all the way through. Once that step is done, it'll look like this. Now going on to step 4. So we're going to take our walls and put them all together. Here's what you'll need for this next step. So I'm working on step 4, and it needs to look like this. And if you're working by yourself, I recommend asking somebody for help. But if you're by yourself, set up the slide like this. It'll hold it, and then get some copper wire and then just loosely tie it You only need a few pieces, and then screw it, and then it'll hold. Doing the frame assembly, you're gonna need these parts, this one. I already got one installed. I was able to get the missing part that I needed, and now it looks like this for step 4. Step 5, you're going to need 2608, piece of wood in the middle, and S4 in this bit with your drill. Step 5. Using the 11mm, I put in these bolts, and it looks like this. Remember to keep it loose until you do the next step. Step 5, part 3, you will need the 11mm, a square bit, and S3. Make sure to use your level. This is what it'll look like when you're done. Step 5, part 4, for assembly, you're going to need these pieces of wood and these screws. When you're done with the platform, it'll look like this with some spacing. Here's the beam, and here's everything that you're going to need for this next step. To do this step, I use a 1/2-inch wrench with the Makita drill and the adapter for 13mm. When you're done, it's going to look like this. All the bolts are tightened. So I'm going to be adding a sand pit feature in here. What I did was I took some tarp paper, dug a hole, lined it with some bricks, and now I'm going to add some sand so she can have a sand pit down here. To do this next step, you're going to need these parts. Alright, so far I finished step 6, so okay. Got this one over here with that. For step 7, you're going to need this hardware. And these pieces of wood. The tools I used for this was the 13mm socket with adapter and drill, hammer, and this is what it looks like when you're done. Step 8, you're going to need the bracket and this hardware, and first I want to install it on this. The easiest way to do this step is to just set it up like this and connect it, slide it right in the bracket, and bolt it down. For step 9, you're going to need this hardware. And then we're going to take the frame and connect it right here. Step 9, I used 1/2-inch wrench, drill with a 13mm socket, a chair, and some help. And that's what it looks like. For step 10, this is what you're going to need. After it's staked, it's going to look like this. Okay, baby. This one needs to be moved. This one also needs to be. Okay, just these two look good. For step 11, you're gonna need these two pieces of wood. Make sure you're using these to go here, and you're not using these. There is a difference. Step 12, you're going to need all of this hardware and pieces for all the doors and windows. Step 13, you're going to need this hardware, these pieces of wood, bag of rock wall, when you're done it'll look like this. Step 14, you're going to need these screws, the last board, your ladder that you just made, and your drill. For step 14, you're going to need S7, the rebar spike. After these two steps are done, it'll look like this. I don't have the floor in yet because I have to order a new part. Step 15, you're going to need 1/8 drill bit, handle, and WL3. Step 17, you're going to need the door, 2709, your drill with a bit, S13, S18, and the door hardware kit. In order to do this step, you will need a slightly smaller drill bit, and then it'll look like this. Step 17, you're going to need all this stuff. Step 17, tape measure, hinges, handle, and S13 screws, and a smaller tip. When you're done this one, it'll look like this. When this step is done, it'll look like this. For step 18, you're going to need, and then it's going to go over here. On this side. With the door on, it'll look like this. Make sure you have it evenly spaced. Step 19, you're going to need this magnetic lock, this 2715 door stopper, drill, S18, and S11. Once you're done, it'll look like this. Step 22, you're going to need the tarp, 2785, 2786, all this hardware, 11mm socket, drill and tape measure, and a ladder. For this next part, you're going to need this hardware, and you're just going to be attaching flat panel brackets. Step 22, attach the tarp frame. So you're going to need these pieces of wood, these screws, Step 23, attach the canopy. So you're going to need the canopy on this hardware. When you're doing these, you're not actually putting holes in the fabric, you're just pinning it down. You're just going to screw it in and pin it down. Like that. When you're done, it's going to look like this. And then you have the 2 screws on each top side. Here's the final step. Putting on the plaque. It comes in English or Spanish. We decided to put it right here on the outside of the swings. Here it is with the teeter totter addition. Now I just gotta paint it. Thanks for watching Go Aventura. Please like and subscribe.